not good morning. We're all pissed off this morning. Welcome to the Pitchlight Chronicles. This is where fans become family. I'm Uncle Taz. I am here with Rob and Donald. And what a brutal way to lose a game yesterday. But kind of very predictable at the same time. Donald, I know you were on a short leash with your schedule, so I'm going to throw it right to you and let you get your takes in before you have to run. So the mic is yours.
I had to jump in because it is predictable. To be honest, Aaron Boone has a responsibility not just to the Yankees as a whole, but the people in the locker room. Did you guys see Stanton's face as once again Clay Holmes was loading the bases? Stanton gave Clay Holmes the side eye. It was painfully obvious on the televised network. So, I mean, I was looking at that and I was like, you know what? Aaron Boone has a responsibility to the Yankees and the players to put the Yankees in the best position to win. And if you continue to gaslight us and the media and everyone into believing that Clay Holmes is some magical closer, then all you're doing is doing a disservice to the people that are putting you in a position to win games. And the Yankees put him in a position to win the game. The Yankees were up going into the ninth inning. And that was it. So, I mean, I can't believe that they put the Yankees in that position once again for Clay Holmes to blow it. It's very frustrating, very, very frustrating. And I'm just exhausted with it, man. It's just stupefying, really. Terrible defense as usual. I want to pick up on Aaron Boone because they had DJ LeMahieu. He got pinch hit for in the ninth inning, but you couldn't have him as a defensive Rizzo as a defensive replacement in the eighth inning. What's the difference between the eighth and the ninth inning? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why was DJ LeMahieu in there in the first place in the eighth inning? It's just, again, ridiculous. And DJ LeMahieu makes a ridiculous error. So this is a constant thing. It's stupid, and the Yankees have to make a change at closer. They absolutely have to make a change at closer now. This is ridiculous. Even Michael Kay was getting sick of it. You hear Michael Kay? He's like, it's never a dull moment with Clay Holmes. And then once he blew it, he's like, he's blown it again. This can't keep happening. So if someone who's paid to be, to gas up the Yankees, right, is finally sick of it, then it should be a pretty clear indicator. This guy, stick him in the eighth inning, but you need someone else in the ninth inning. There isn't really an obvious answer because our bullpen is fucked, but there's better options. You could try Canely. His numbers are fine. You could try Cousins. His slider's electric. You could try something just a little bit different. But I'm going to get into all that shit on Friday. We'll break it all down. But I had to jump in. This is very frustrating. And it's kind of embarrassing. This is the Yankees. Like, what are we doing? I've never experienced a worse closer in my fandom of the Yankees. It's never been worse. We've had Rafael Soriano, brilliant. Miller, brilliant. Robertson, brilliant. We've had guys that can do a job. But for some reason, they keep gaslighting us about Clay Holmes. He's not it. He never has been it, and he never will be it. So the quicker they realize that and stop gaslighting us as a fandom and the Yankees as an organization, the better chance we have of doing something in October. Because I will make it 100% certainty that if Clay Holmes is in that position again in the ninth inning in the playoffs, he will blow. He will blow it. It's not even a question. It's a 100% certainty. So do something about it. Now's the time to do something about it. Anyway, shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button for all of us. My brothers Rob and Uncle T, and I'll catch you guys on Friday.
All right, later, bro. No, it really is. I mean, that's why it's the cardiac Clay. He struck again. This should only be an anomaly when he doesn't have it, especially if you're being, you're in that closer role. You should be the guy that should be leaned on, and then maybe have that handful of games a year where you're just not hitting your spot. It seems like it's only a handful of times where he's actually on his game. The one thing I did notice was I was able to catch a little bit on TV before the game ended. it seems like the trend is when he has to pitch out of the stretch, is when the unraveling just escalates. Um, Rob, what did you see out of the out? Like, am I onto something with when he has runners on? Is when he just completely falls apart.
But he's always giving up runners when the bases are empty. So what's the difference? The guy can't close. It's beyond frustrating at this point watching him try and close a game because it doesn't matter if he was throwing from a windup and he's a relief pitcher. He's going to be from the stretch anyway. So I can't believe that they're continuing to do this because in years past when he would have these lulls, the last 2 years, they would take him out of the ninth inning and try to get him to fix his stuff in the seventh or the eighth. They did that last year and the year before, and it actually worked 2 years ago because he struggled. They took him out of the closer role, and come October, he was actually really good. This year, for whatever reason, they will not do it. And last night was just a perfect example of why they need to make a change because, what is that, 12 blown saves now? It's 3 more than anybody else. It's the first Yankee to give up a walk-off grand slam since Marte in '08. Like, we're talking about nearly 20 years now since that happened. It's well overdue that they make a change at closer. This guy cannot be the closer in October. And the decision making for the rest of the game defensively, DJ LeMahieu costing us the game with that error. 11 blown saves. Thank you, Jared. It's still too many. For this guy to be considered the best closer available for us, to have 11 blown saves. Yeah, and they're blaming soft hit contact, and they're blaming the defense, but yet who's the person that keeps putting the same defense out there? That's why when John Boy asked Aaron Boone about it, he got out defensive. Yet, here's another example last night of just bad defense no matter who's on the mound. So it's frustrating because Clay Holmes stinks, and you know when he's in for a bad game when he gives up multiple base runners in a row. He's been bailed out several times early in the season by the defense when he had that 0 ERA. The first few games he was bailed out by Juan Soto. So I'm sick of it. They can't keep having him out there. He's walking guys. So yeah, right, Joan. If he's giving up base runners, does it matter if it's soft contact or hard contact? He's walking guys left and right. When his command is off, he's all over the place. They did it for Chapman when he struggled. They took him out of the role and they paid Chapman $20 million. I don't know what they're doing here, but the fact that they can't even at least think about it, at least think about Canely, think about Cousins. When Hamilton's back, think about Hamilton. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't even mind seeing Tim Hill close a game because he's probably doing a better job. But they got to pick somebody. I don't like the closer by committee, but they might have to. Baltimore's doing it. They might have to at this point, but it cannot be Clay Holmes. It simply cannot be Clay Holmes. He's coming out and saying he thinks he's throwing the ball well. He's not. The dude's got like an ERA of 5 in his last month worth of games. He's not pitching well at all. He's costing us games. We would have a comfortable lead right now if he would lock down the ninth inning the way he's supposed to. I know there's going to be blown saves, but when it comes to October, do we want him on the mound? No.
No, and that's the issue. It's not about the regular season games. It's the fact that you take his 11 blown saves, you turn those into wins, right? Shit happens during the course of a season. You have a couple of bad games, so let's just say 8 of the 11 should have been locked down. That's still putting you in really. That's 8 games in the division that we could have had with the way that Baltimore's been playing. Because Baltimore won last night, so now we're a half game in second place. So we got knocked out of first place, and believe me, I think the next 20 plus games, this is just the way it's going to be until the Baltimore series. That's going to decide who's winning the division. Unfortunately, I think the Yankees have to sweep now in that last series to lock the division up. If they keep doing this back and forth with the who's in first, but we could his inability to close a game is unacceptable. It's beyond frustrating. It's just unacceptable. And the fact that everybody, the fact that Boone wants to keep making excuses for him. That was my first after the game. I'm like, I cannot wait to see how he's going to make an excuse for this one. And I'm like, Boone comes out and he's like, I don't, they asked him about, is he going to be removed from the, is it time to make a change in the closing position? And he was like, well, I don't want to respond to that right now, and be reactionary. And I'm like, he should have stopped there. But he's like, he's just going through a tough stretch right now. I'm like, why couldn't you just shut up after the first part you said? Because that was actually a legitimate. Look, I don't want to respond emotionally. We'll talk about everything behind closed doors. Problem solved. You don't need to keep trying to gaslight the fans that everything is good. It's not. It's 11 losses on him this year. There are a handful that are on, where he got the soft contact in the infield, where the defense fell apart. I get it. It's going to happen. That's why I'm saying 8 out of the 11 really should have been locked out, a legitimate closing opportunity that he himself put himself on the L for. And you give up a grand slam to a guy that went 0 for 4. And you give him a layup down the middle. He's his own worst enemy right now.
You can only a handful of them that are on the defense. Maybe like 5 tops, but that's still half of his blown saves. So you're talking about another 6 that are on him. That's first place. That's the difference between first place in this division. How much longer can they do that? I mean, even the night before, we didn't even talk about it yesterday because we were breaking down the previous series, but the night before he had a 5-run lead and he almost choked. So he doesn't have a safe lead. A 5-run lead is not safe for Clay Holmes. This dude is not good in the closer role, and he hasn't been good for like 2 months now. There was a point where he was the best closer in baseball for the first few months, like the month and a half of the season. And now all of a sudden, and he just can't do it. He can't close anymore. I don't know if it's a psyching thing or he's just not throwing the ball well because his stuff still moves, but it's not moving well enough for him to get swings and misses. They're not missing it, and if they're not going to swing and miss, guess what? He's going to walk the whole freaking village. So I can't even find the words for it anymore. He's literally leaving me speechless. As expected as it is to see him blow a game, he's leaving me speechless. And the fact that the Yankees, it's September 4th, and they still are like, no, that's the guy. It's infuriating because we haven't seen a season this bad from a closer I don't think in my lifetime, because we were blessed. We were blessed with Mo. And even after that, we had like Donald mentioned, we had the 1 year of Soriano when Mo was hurt. And then when Mo retired, it was David Robertson. Then we had Chapman for that 1 year. He was outstanding when we first got him. Andrew Miller did his job. Betances was great. We were so blessed. I would kill for a Aroldis Chapman right now compared to what we're getting from Clay Holmes. And that's what it's come to.
That's how bad it is.
That's how bad it is because Chapman stunk his last year with the Yankees, the last couple of years. And here we are. I would much rather see Chapman out there in the 9th inning because he would get out of those from time to time. Clay Holmes isn't. So make a change. You have 24, 23 games left to figure it out. Do closer by committee for the next month, and whoever do an open job. Treat it like it's spring training. Yep. Whoever does the best goes into October as a closer. Hopefully, it can be Hamilton when he's back, and that's really it. I don't see anyone getting called up from the minors to take that spot. It certainly ain't going to be Mark Leiter or Clay Holmes at this point, but it's either Canely, Cousins, or Hamilton when he's healthy, I think would be the best options. Those are the only guys that I would probably trust, but I don't want to hear anything about Luis Heel. He's not going to be the closer. Nothing like that. Just give it. Just try it out with those three different players, and you got to take Clay Holmes out of the ninth inning. It's unbelievable at this point.
Yeah, it's. I don't know if it's exactly a closer by committee, but I would start maybe trying to get. I know it was a idea that was shot down. They didn't. What about Weaver? Like, or Cousins. I mean, Canely. I know, Cousins and Canely. They didn't have their best outings their last appearance, but can't be any worse. I would have more confidence with Hill as the closer, but they have got to make a move. He can't do it anymore. And I know we had the 0 ERA to begin the year, and we were all going on, but we all knew in the second half he was going to collapse. Same way we went in the first half of the year with Torres. We knew once he got to the second half, once he got to the tail end of August, is when he plays his best. Holmes is his best at the beginning of the year when we need him at the end of the year. That's not a closer. A closer is like your ace. They have to be on their game 98% of the time. Holmes is not that. Holmes is not that.
And
no, I didn't say Luis Hill, Tim Hill.
See, he doesn't want to listen. Don't even pay him any attention with this Luis Hill as a closer stuff. Guy's been the Rookie of the Year candidate for a starter, but you want him to close. No. They need to figure it out with the bullpen, the actual bullpen arms, not a starting pitcher. Figure it out with what you have, because you didn't add a legitimate relief pitcher at the deadline, so you're stuck with what you have. There's nobody in the minor leagues that right now would come up and be a better option, so figure it out. It just cannot be Clay Holmes. If they want to try Weaver, go ahead. I like Weaver where he is, but and Acevedo, the thing is, if they want to give him 2 to 4 innings, but if you put him in the ninth inning, the dude's wild. If he doesn't have it, you're looking at Clay Holmes with harder velocity. That's all you're looking at. Clay Holmes that throws 100, and he might get beat up. He might walk a few guys. I don't want Luis Hill in the bullpen. I don't want him in the closer role because, like Taj just said, he has to be on it. If Luis Hill's out there in the ninth inning and he's throwing all over the place, he might walk the bases loaded, or he might strike out the side, but you don't know. Exactly, Joan. He walks too many players right now to say he'd be the perfect closer. He wouldn't. He really wouldn't. Not right now, at least, and I don't want him to be, because he's already shown he can be a very good starting pitcher. Why would we take that away from the kid? That would break him, because now he's used to starting. He's used to the starting every fifth day, so now you want to just change it? No, that doesn't make sense. He doesn't need to be the closer. So, yeah, but he's sharing starts, but they're doing that with Nestor. Hill's starting, and then Nestor's going to piggyback. That's what they're doing, and then they're going to go with a 6-man rotation. They can limit his innings. Doesn't mean he has to pitch in the ninth inning.
Yeah.
If anything, Hill can be like an opener for 2 or 3, and then you bring in somebody else. You still want to try to get multiple innings out of the guy, not just lock him down. Here, go from starting for the first time in 2 years off Tommy John. Now, because we desperately need it, we're going to throw you into the ninth inning in your rookie season as the closer. You went from being a starter to the closer when you didn't even struggle to have to get demoted to the bullpen. Like, it just, you think that's not taxing on an arm just because he's throwing 1 inning instead of 6 or 5? It's very difficult to close. Look at Clay Holmes. He can't do it. It's a different mentality when you got to go from starting a game to closing a game. That's not easy. I know Rivera did it, but let's not say that, because he did it, anyone can do it. No. I don't want an erratic thrower for the ninth inning, because look what's happening with Clay Holmes. Look what happened with Chapman. Hill is very erratic right now. It's too erratic for the ninth inning. Those walks are way too high. And Medina, I love Hill, not in the closer role.
Yep. I thought at the beginning of the season it could have been an option, but at this stage, Luis Hill has to stay in the rotation when he returns. He has to stay in the rotation for the postseason. They have him shut down for a few starts. That's all. He's gonna reset the clock a little bit on the timeline for his arm. I'm not messing with him because when we didn't have Cole, Hill was the reason why we were on such a run. He was a huge part of that rotation. So was Clark Schmidt. You're able to get those two guys back in the rotation, might limit the damage before it even gets to the bullpen, where you're not in panic mode. The issue with the bullpen, and this was another thing that Boone pointed out. So I was trying to find. I'm listening for talking points that are not going to have me want to lift up my computer and smash it to the ground. The Yankee bullpen has an issue once they get to 2 strikes. Our bullpen arms do not have that strikeout pitch. That's a problem. That's why we're throwing 10 different names out of who could take their place, and you could find a flaw in every single one of them. The biggest flaw in our bullpen is we do not have that flame-throwing strikeout guy. And that's why Heel is appealing to a lot of you guys. But Heel's value is in the rotation, not the bullpen.
Exactly. This kid, if he was stayed healthy, could have been in the running for Rookie of the Year. I don't think anyone's going to take it from the dude from Baltimore, I think, who's kind of leading the pack. But doesn't matter. For a long chunk of the season, and if not for like a handful of starts where he's been roughed up because he hasn't thrown in 2 years, he's been very good. So, and you act like I'm not saying you, but a lot of people act like going and just throwing 1 inning is going to be fine. Like, oh, it's less taxing on his arm, but that's the highest pressure inning, especially in the playoffs.
It's mentally taxing.
Mentally, and it can be physically taxing.
Yeah.
Because now he's got to throw his hardest for 20 some odd pitches, and he's got to get you out of that inning. There's no guarantee he's going to be able to do it. He might have the stuff to do it, but I don't want to do that to the guy because it's his first year back and he's been fine as a starter. And Frederick, I don't know about Ray Zellman just yet. He's been great, but I want to see a little bit more. I don't want to thrust. The time to call up a rookie was like 2 months ago when they had Jack Neely, and they didn't do it. So at this point, I don't even want to go call up anyone from the minors. Just you got to go with what you have. What we have is not very good, but luckily we do have some guys coming back from injury. And it might be Hamilton, it might be Weaver, it might be Canely. Canely's closed in the past, and I would say Canely's the top of that group for me, but you cannot keep throwing Clay Holmes out there.
Yeah, if I had to rank the 3 that I would toss the closer role to and rank them in order of which ones I trust the most, it would be Canely, Weaver, Cousins. Those are the 3. I know a few people have thrown Hamilton's name into the conversation, but he's not even back yet. So you don't even know what you're going to get. So I don't want to put his name into the mix.
Yeah, and also Jones brought up he has back spasms, so there's that. And Mello, I don't know where the hell Nick Birdie is because if you want a flamethrower, that's him, but he's also erratic. You can't have someone that's erratic just because he throws hard in the 9th inning. That's my whole point. We hated Aroldis Chapman in that role, and Holmes doesn't even throw that hard, but he's erratic. So now you want Luis Heel, who throws 100 but could be all over the place. That just doesn't make sense to me. You don't have to throw hard, but you got to be able to locate.
Yep.
You can generate swings and misses, but if they're not swinging and missing at anything way out of the zone, guess what? You're going to walk a village. That's what Chapman did. That's what Holmes is doing. They need someone who can throw hard but also locate. Tommy Canely's got the changeup to get swing and miss stuff, and he throws pretty hard. I think Canely might be the best option right now. Or Cousins, but that slider's so good that he might throw some wild pitches, and I think Joan brought that up earlier. He could be prone to that.
That's why the one thing that I noticed was his in last night's game, and I would have to go back and really study all the tape um, with his rough outings, and that's a lot of tape. Was it seems to be when he's in the stretch. I mentioned that earlier. I want to bring it back to the analogy here. When he's out of the stretch, it seems like he's rushing because now that's when, because you notice after the hit, back-to-back walks. Yeah, I can't feel comfortable with him on the mound, even with nobody on base, because it just takes one bloop single, and then you're like, they're gonna come back on it. They're gonna make us pay for that. You know, my initial reaction, part of what I was trying to put through my head while I was driving home from work, I'm like, yeah, this is an offense that did win the World Series last year. Their pitching might be a little suspect from last year with some injuries. But if you want to be if the Yankees want to be that World Series contender, those are the games you have to finish. You have to finish those games against teams like that, against an offense like that. So it's, again, they have to try something different, because otherwise October is just going to be a pipe dream. It's going to be what could have been if we had one move in the bullpen. You want to bring him in the 8th inning, so he's still in a high leverage inning, because you never know what part of the lineup you're going to be going through. It's just also, he's got to, Boone has to stop with the pampering. Stop babying this guy. He's not it. He's not. Canely, Weaver, Cousins. Those are the 3 I'm going to over the next couple of series, just to see if something clicks. And I'm going Canely 1 because I think he has the experience in the league to be able to handle being the mental aspect of being a closer.
Thing is, doesn't matter where Holmes is, because that was the bottom of the order that he struggled against last night.
True.
7, 8, 9, and he just could not get anybody out. I don't know exactly how did the inning go. He got the first guy, gave up a hit, stolen base, then he walked 2 in a row. You gonna blame the defense for that? That's clear. That's all on Clay Holmes. That entire inning is on Clay Holmes. The inning before, with the error from LeMahieu, that's another story, because I think it was the inning before. Yeah, it was. You could put that on LeMahieu on the defense, but you can't put that for Clay Holmes in the 9th. He was terrible. Again, he was bad the night before. So you can blame the defense for a few of these, like the Kansas City game. Yeah, that's on the defense. We keep going back to that, but because ever since that Kansas City game, it seems like this team has just been 500 or below.
Yeah,
they gotta figure this out, and I'm going to keep repeating myself, but it's annoying at this point. How is it September 4th and we're still talking about who's got to be the closer? Why didn't they do it a month ago, just to take him out and try it with somebody else? And Stevie B, you're right. There's more issues than just the closer.
Yeah.
Their base coach, it's terrible. The miscommunication with him and Jazz, it's happened multiple times in the last couple of weeks. The defense is atrocious. DJ LeMahieu should not be sniffing a baseball field. That's another thing. I said this yesterday on Twitter. DJ's had a great career. He's one of the best pure hitters that we've had in this lineup for a while. But it's well past his time. They cannot keep trotting this guy out there for the occasional single. That's all he's good for. It's the occasional single. But guess what he also did in his next at-bat? Double play. The dude stinks. Flat out sucks. And he can't play first base. And that's all he's here for, is to be a defensive replacement, and he can't do that. They got to get rid of him.
Yeah, I know we're on a tight schedule this morning, but we do appreciate everybody that is hanging out with us this morning. If you haven't already, Issy already dropped the numbers 50-50 on the likes. Let's get that to 100. Hit the little heart on the bottom of the screen. It will help the algorithm because I know that we all try to share as much as we can, but let's see if we can kind of trick the algorithm and get this out to more people as the family continues to grow. All right, we teased it last show, and I do want to get to it because I want us to be a channel where we say we're going to continue with a discussion. We do so. Let's discuss real quick any concerns with Garrett Cole. Was it just a little cramp from dehydration? What do you give us a percentage of him making his next start?
They don't seem too scared about it, so I wouldn't be surprised if he skips a start just to be safe, but if it was just a cramp, then I guess he's going to be okay. Maybe that's why they're going with the different look in the Chicago series. Maybe they want to skip a start because they're getting Schmidt and Heel back at like the same time, so they could try that. But you can just skip it just to make sure because we need him. You need Garrett Cole. As important as every game is at this point, I'd much rather make sure Garrett Cole is 100% ready to go. But yeah, I think Jones already saying he's starting Sunday, so I guess he's good. I'm glad. When I first saw him walking off the field, I'm like, Jesus Christ, how can it get worse? But luckily,
Don't ask that question, Rob.
I mean, it can get worse. Clay Holmes is on the part of this team. So it already got worse that game.
Yeah, no, I think it really was just simply a cramp. You saw it afterwards in the dugout. He's laughing, cutting it up with everybody. If it was anything where it was pain, he would have been in the tunnel getting checked out. That's why I have zero concern over Cole. Well, he said he needs to eat more bananas. You're right, Joan. He did not have his banana in the dugout. You can't tell somebody, hey, go get me a banana. But I think he's going to be just fine. So it is what it is. It's a fluke. I do want to get to this topic definitely. So we gives us a chance to end on a very positive note. Holy shit, Rodon looked freaking amazing last night. Rodon was clicking, and that's what makes the blow and save even fucking worse. Is you ruined that outing? That's the Rodon we've been waiting for a long time. He 1 hit, 11 strikeouts, and he loses the game after a clutch bases loaded hit from Volpe to give that the lead. And you gotta feel bad for Rodon. Did not deserve the outcome of last night at all. His changeup and his slider were unhittable. Rob, your thought?
He was fantastic, and as NFE just said, his outing going to waste is frustrating. You can't waste that because they almost wasted a great Garrett Cole start the night before, and they wasted this one last night. That Rodon is exactly what you're paying $27 million for. 11 strikeouts in 6 innings. A lower pitch count, he can give you 7. You're hoping that in a playoff game he can give you 7, but
yeah,
that was brilliant. He was outstanding. That's a good lineup. I know things have not been great for the Texas Rangers this year, but they've still got a damn good team.
Yep. So
for him to shut them down, that was huge because the offense was not hitting up until, what was it, like the 6th or something when Volpe got the big hit? Which, by the way, he's been really good and no one wants to talk about it because they don't like him, but that's another story. I'm just so mad they wasted it because he was freaking fantastic yesterday. 11 strikeouts. That's exactly what you're asking for out of him. A bunch of strikeouts in 6 or more innings. And he answered the call. He gave up the 1 home run, I think it was, and then after that he was just absolutely locked down. And the fact that they blew it is an absolute joke. I don't know how you blow that game. But they found a way, and it sucks because Rodon deserved a win, and he's not going to get one.
Yeah, it really is a shame. And just as I predicted, we saw fucking Heaney on the mound, and I'm like, he's going to shut us down. He hasn't had a win. I think they said since July 21st was the last win he had on his record. And here come the Yankees making him look like, he's in his 20s again. That was frustrating. But it was a good pitcher's duel till that point. Rodon gave up, the home run on one, but after that, he didn't unravel. He locked back in. He got through the inning, and he still was able to go and just rock. And it just all went down the fucking toilet. It's depressing because you had a clutch outing from Rodon, setting you up for a series win. Volpe with the clutch hit, like Rob said, and nobody wants to talk about Volpe. And how sneaky good he's been. Where they actually, I think they moved him up. What was he batting? 6th yesterday. Torres is continuing his second half production, which we all expected. That's what we've been waiting for. Where it could have, that's a victory like we had a couple weeks ago, where it could have shown you don't need Judge Stanton Soto to go yard every game for a win. That was a scrappy. That was in line for a scrappy win. All right, they got a couple runs on us in the 8th. It's going to happen, and then what we all know is going to happen if you one run lead with Holmes. Boone also fucked up by getting Weaver ready too late. By the time you had him start warming up, the damage had already been done, and so there was no point in even going that route. To show that you were ready, you were ready to, make a decision, that you weren't gonna, you're not totally in on him. I had to. That's what I thought. That was a press conference thing. I was ready to pull him. We were just waiting for Weaver to get warmed up. It was just one batter too many, but we all knew what was going to happen. The other issue with the lineup, why, and I understand the stupid lefty-righty bullshit. Rizzo just came back. He had a really good game. And here it is again. They bench him for LeMahieu on the same night that you're sitting Wells. So now 2 solid bats that are seeing the ball well, you have sitting on the bench for LeMahieu. Why? That made 0 sense whatsoever.
I don't know how many times I can say it. They got to stop with this lefty-righty stuff.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the right-handed bats to hit lefties on the bench anyway. You know who could help you with that? Jason Dominguez. But they don't want to call him up. So, I can't... Yeah, you're right, NFE, but Andrew Heaney stinks, but that's a perfect recipe for someone to shut our lineup down. We can't hit lefties no matter who it is. When we got shut down by Patrick Corbin, they should have thrown the lefty-righty stuff out the window and said, start from scratch, just play your best 9 no matter who's on the mound. Why not play Cabrera? If you want to sit Rizzo, okay. Why is Cabrera still sitting on the bench? The kid has done nothing to deserve that. Whenever he's played, he's at least tried hard. He even had one pinch hit and he had a good swing. DJ LeMahieu has done utter shit for the entire season. He continuously gets opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And yet Cabrera, who's 26 years old, he's athletic, he's played everywhere, every position you could possibly play him, he's played. He's probably even pitched. And they don't want to play him. I don't get it. I really don't get it. What is DJ LeMahieu doing to deserve the playing time he's getting? He's not doing anything. They need to go. They need to let him go. And I know they won't do it. They have to let the guy go or stop playing him altogether. Fake an injury if you have to. I don't care. The dude cannot keep playing. He cannot be a part of this team in the postseason. If he is, they're costing themselves a roster spot. It's blind loyalty, Medina. You're right. It's disgusting what they're doing.
Yeah, and you have the off day Thursday. You couldn't put Rizzo in for 2 more games and then let him out. Then let him have the back-to-back games on Thursday and Friday, depending on the matchups. Even coming back from an injury, only playing a game or two, I have more trust in Rizzo than LeMahieu. Because Rizzo makes that play at first base. I'm sorry.
I have more trust in a stop sign at first base.
Yeah, but it's just good to see that we weren't able to get, if Torres and Volpe are going to continue to put the at-bats together that they are, it's good to see them wrapped around the big guys in the middle. I think that's leading to a very successful formula, but we're going to see tonight on how Boone fucks the lineup up, because I know that's going to happen. Somebody's getting benched that doesn't need to be. But I will say, as much as I agree with, I know Wells, he got hit in the hand. We all knew he was going to sit out. I do want to say that I think, although you had the one hit, you didn't really do much offensively. But Trevino's play behind the plate in the ninth with all the balls in the dirt, I think he did a really good job because that game could have ended 2 batters earlier. So big credit to Trevino for all the balls he was able to block. But he deserves the credit there.
Yeah, he had a good game. He called a great game too. Look, he's a backup catcher, and that's who they're using him as, which is fine. Or use him that way. I knew Wells wasn't going to play yesterday because he hasn't been hitting the last few games, and they were going against a lefty. That's fine. You want to play him 4 or 3 in a row, then sit him, then play him 3, then sit him. That's fine. That's how you platoon with the catcher. That's how you operate with the starting catcher. They're not going to play every day, but don't tell me you're going to give Wells more playing time and then play Trevino like 3 in a row just because it's a lefty. It's just, it's annoying. But, hey, we'll see tonight. We should have Rizzo back. We should hopefully have Wells back. I think the Valdi's starting tonight, Damian, so they should have the lefties in there. Yeah, right, CT. There's zero reason that DJ should have been playing. It should have been Cabrera. If you want to sit Rizzo, play Cabrera. Because DJ brings you nothing. Cabrera at least brings you a switch hitter that you don't have to bring in a replacement for him.
Good. We'll see what happens. I still think that the Yankees have just as much of a chance to win the series, especially if you're going to have Rizzo and Wells. Well, Wells is day-to-day. We don't know if he's actually going to play tonight. But as long as you get Rizzo, as long as DJ's not in the lineup, it sets you up. And I think that I because of pitches thrown, I don't think Holmes is available tonight, so that gives us a chance for a win, which is it's so sad to say because it's he was just put in a role that he had no success for, especially in the second half. We've seen it too many times, and so. But that is going to wrap things up for us this morning. Do enjoy the game tonight. We will be back on Friday. We will break down the series in its entirety with Donald and also Donald's awards as well. So just remember, hit that like button, hit that subscription button, share this out with your friends, your family, and a stranger on the corner. As always, wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.